All right, Jonathan, we're still in the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
And we said from the beginning of this summer we wanted to throw out some episodes that were a little bit lighter, some ideas that maybe were not money makers.
Maybe we were workshopping an idea.
Yeah, maybe they're not quite baked out yet,
Yeah.
or they're highly altruistic, not a lot of financial upside, or honestly, we've even thrown out some good, bad ideas.
Yeah.
Right? Because even those are fun to talk about.
Yeah.
So before we get into this kind of light summer topic, I wanted to ask you a heavy question.
Okay.
Are you in therapy?
No.
You're not in therapy?
Mm-mm.
Okay. You ever gone to therapy?
Physical therapy. Yeah.
Physical therapy?
I quit, but I was doing it for a little bit.
But never done like the...
Emotional, mental,
No, none of that.
soul-searching therapy.
What's behind that? Why? Just haven't needed it?
First of all,
or...
what like it's shocking to me how shocking it is to you. Like that says something about myself. I think that you're surprised that I'm like,
Yeah,
because you were almost like, wait, you're not in therapy?
Well, first
there
of
was-
all, I'm shocked you think I would be shocked by you not being in therapy, as if that's some horrible thing. That's shocking.
No, not that you would think that therapy is horrible, but that
Keep
you
going.
think that in seeing me that I should be in therapy and I'm not in therapy. So you're shocked by that, which is shocking to me that you're shocked that I'm not in therapy.
But I'm shocked you don't think the assumption should be we all probably need therapy.
You're right. You're right there.
Maybe we need couples therapy.
Maybe.
You know,
I think
maybe that's it. Maybe
just-
we're just missing each other.
Yeah,
you know, too much lately.
two ships in the night.
Exactly.
No, I mean,
Exactly.
I'm sure there are things that
Yeah.
I could probably delve into. I don't trust like professionals really.
Here we go. Here we go.
Like I'm always a little like
so surprised by this.
I'm always a little
Continue.
like, okay, what are they really going to tell me? They're just going to all I'm going to be doing is verbally processing it anyway. So I'd rather do that with a friend than some random person that I don't
So,
know.
Jonathan, here's how therapy works. So where did that distrust come from?
See, exactly. And that's the thing that I would
No, right now, no. We're going to workshop this right now. Where'd it come
a series of being let down by
from? Oh,
professionals.
that must have been really painful.
No, it's frustrating.
Yeah? Yeah. What do you do when you're frustrated?
Complain,
You complain.
breathe in like I just did that. You just
Yeah.
see the way I went like
Yeah.
that. I'll do that. I
Yeah.
also, some other thing I do when I get frustrated is I will, which drives like my wife, my kids crazy. I'll just be like, like I just have to have these. My grandpa used to say I would ride in a truck with him while we were counting cows, which I think is the stupidest thing in the world that we would count their
Okay.
cows. Like how many cows were actually going to get lost? They had like 110 cows.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'd drive around counting them 1, 2, 3, whatever. And every once in a while he'd go, oh, me, like that. And I would be like, what? What's the matter? And he's like, every once in a while, Jonathan, a man just needs to owe me. And so that's what I do when I get frustrated or upset is I have this
Yeah.
huge exhale.
How's that going for you?
Fine, I'm not in therapy, so I think it's going pretty well.
There it is. The assumption that you shouldn't be in therapy. Oh my goodness. You don't long just to like get an alternative perspective
So-
from somebody who's not your friend,
Right.
who's not your spouse, somebody you're actually paying to give their expert or, their expert opinion.
What's the the TV show Sopranos?
Yeah.
So when I was watching The Sopranos and Tony Soprano was going to talk to his therapist.
Yeah.
I was like, "Man, I should get a therapist. Just somebody that you can go
Yeah.
in and spill your guts to and all that. But I think it might be too late. I think there was another time in my life when I should have had the therapist. So how about you?
Oh, I'm bullish
Yeah.
on therapy. Oh yeah. I mean, it's just like I look forward to it. Like I get to verbally process and somebody gets to give me their impression about how I'm coming off to them
Okay.
is very helpful information for me.
Interesting.
Because sometimes you wonder, like, am I thinking about things
Am I
right?
being
am I
whining?
like, how do I come off?
Right.
Like if I asked you that, which is actually I think a great question friends should ask one another,
Right.
which is how do you receive me? What's it like being around me? But you have to have really honest relationships,
Yeah.
in order to pull that off. But I think that's what a therapist does is they can give that to you right away. They're more insightful than most people.
Mm-hmm.
and you're creating a context in which that's the expectation you're going to get. And so it kind of turbocharges that, because those are, I mean, think about it. And even in friendships, we do therapy with one another, don't we?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want that like in a moment, that you could schedule it and get it?
Yeah.
Do you see?
Yeah, I see what you're
I'm a fan.
doing. Yeah.
I'm a fan. Now, I want us to take this heavy topic of
Okay.
therapy and let's just blow it up for a second,
Okay.
because you've got an idea for us.
Yes.
And I don't know if I'm about to hear a good bad idea, a bad idea, or a good idea.
Right.
But hit me.
Okay. So when about 15 years ago, I met this guy who was a chiropractor, and he charged $7. You would go in.
That's like ordering a steak and it costing $7.
Yes. You
Yeah.
would go in. He would lay you down on this table. He would go
Yeah.
pop, and it would make this loud sound. And he'd be like, wait around 10 minutes and then leave. And then he'd go to, and he had all these little rooms set up, and he would just go room to room to room to room to room, lay people on their side, pop their neck. And as I got to know him a little better, even though you were only with him for like 30 seconds, I found out that on Saturdays they were closed because he went to this Amish community that was like an hour and a half away. And he would, when babies were born, they would, all these places, this is where like the Amish people came to have their babies, I guess.
Okay.
And he would go there and he would adjust their babies the minute they were born.
Really?
And yeah, and he was saying there's so much trauma coming through the womb, like coming down the birth canal and all
Yeah.
of that they're out of alignment, and that he needs to fix them.
I've never heard of this
immediately.
service.
Yeah, well, you're not Amish. So that got me thinking.
Yeah.
Is there anything more traumatic than being born?
I mean, physically, it's
Emotionally, mentally? I mean, you've been in an embryonic sac your whole life.
Yeah.
You have a tube that feeds you. You don't have to think about any of that kind of stuff. You can't hear. You can't. I mean, the only thing you hear is like outside muffled sounds.
You know what it is? It's solitary confinement.
It's solitary confignment. And then all of a sudden you come into this room that is bright lit, people screaming.
Existential overload.
People slapping. Like, it's just this crazy
People slapping
moment.
you. People
You're dry
cutting you.
for the first
people
time ever.
staring at you.
Yeah, yeah. It's this insane moment.
Yeah.
So why don't we have therapy for newborns? That's my idea. To create a business where you have therapy for newborns to help them get past that. Maybe some people are screwed up because of the birthing system. Like it was such a traumatic event in their life that they've never gotten past it. But it's deep down, like they pushed it way down there, like a memory that is just kind of there, but not really. And so their natural default setting is, I feel uncomfortable. I don't feel like I belong here. All these things because they never were able to go through that process. And I wonder, like, not speaking ill of cesareans, because sometimes people have to have cesareans, but that's not the natural way for them to be born. So those are even crazier because they're just all of a sudden ripped out of a place, and they didn't go through this difficult experience to get there. And so they're filled with all of this. I don't belong here. I don't belong here.
So let me just get this straight. In your mid to late 40s, you right now don't need therapy. But what you wish you had
was therapy when I was a baby. Yes. I've
when you were a
talked about it
baby.
before. That's like, I don't even like talking about being a baby. Like, that's so embarrassing. It's just this horrible time of my life. But maybe if I had therapy during
What was
that,
so
I wouldn't
horrible
have.
about it?
You poop your pants? Like, who wants to do that? Like, everything.
Really?
I couldn't do anything on my own. I had to beg for everything I needed. I had to scream and throw a fit just to get something. Like, what a terrible, terrible existence.
You don't remember this, though.
But maybe we do. And that's what the therapist could
my
come
gosh.
alongside.
I'm crying. This is so ridiculous.
The therapist could come alongside
You've made me
and
cry.
lead us through. I would call it welcome to Ween. Like they're
my
taking us from
What is happening?
being a baby
Yeah.
whose life was perfect into this imperfect world, and they're walking us through that. And you could start like as a newborn.
gosh.
And I don't know how to communicate really to a newborn, like I know some ways of communicating to them. I remember like blowing on their face and them like blinking their eyes really fast. And
Yeah,
one of
what
our
was that all
kids,
about? Yeah.
one of our kids, like I could rub their super super fuzzy forehead, and their eyes, they would start closing their eyes and that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
like I feel like if there had been a therapist in those moments, maybe things would come out different.
Can we get to gut reaction?
Sure, gut reaction.
I've never been more confused than I am right now.
Okay.
That's it.
I
That's my gut reaction.
I felt like that was a pretty simple explanation of.
Well, okay. Can I elaborate on my confusion?
Yes. Yeah. I would love for you to.
How does the therapy work?
I mean, how does all therapy work? Like they ask
Well,
questions
you have two people who speak a common language,
Okay.
Speaking insights
Well, I
back
don't
and
think
forth. I mean, an infant can't do that.
You don't just take it to any random therapist and be like, "Hey, here." But you get somebody that specializes in newborn therapy. I mean, there's dog therapists. Like, do you think a dog is more intelligent than a newborn baby?
I'm not even familiar with dog therapists. Can you explain this just real
No,
quick?
I can't explain it.
I know there's therapy dogs.
No, but there's
I know
also
dogs can add.
I think there's a place on Commercial Street right here in Fort
Yeah.
Lauderdale that is therapy for your pets. They help your pets through therapeutic times. But like a baby, like I mean, you're teaching
That's
them.
the best apologetic for it so far.
Thank you.
Is that if we have therapy for dogs,
Yeah.
which I don't know anything about, I don't know
Right.
the utility of, I don't know how it works. Why wouldn't we have it for infants?
I mean, you can agree.
Somehow, how did you get me on board with this?
You can agree that the most traumatic event in your life most likely is being born. Like there could be nothing. What could be more traumatic than that? That would be you.
In theory, the problem with your premise is memory. Trauma and memory are linked.
Right.
And I don't have a memory of being an infant.
But how often are people that go into therapy, they don't have a memory of the event, like they've blocked it out, and part of therapy is getting them to remember that event and get past it.
But that's because of trauma, not because of biological development.
This is trauma, though. This is trauma. This is a traumatic event. Can you imagine if right now all of a sudden you were just sucked somewhere else and now you're living in water and it's dark again? Like if what just happened to you as a baby happened to you now and you show up,
it would be a big
and people
deal.
are speaking words and you have no idea what they're saying.
You're right. That would be traumatic.
Yes.
But I guess now I'm no scientist.
Okay.
Okay. But I just don't think that's the same thing as what a baby is going through.
Okay.
And I think because of where the brain is developed, I think trauma has so much to do with where our brain's capacity is at and how it is interpreting its surroundings. But when you're talking about an infant, what are we talking about here?
So here's the real part of this, okay?
Okay.
I don't really care if it helps the kid. How simple do you think it could be to convince a couple parents that their kid is crying at night? Your kid shouldn't be crying that much at night. It needs therapy.
So this went from a good bad idea to a bad idea.
No, it's like I think it could be very.
Or is this a bad good idea? And the only thing that could
Yes,
make it
it's
a bad
idea.
good idea is if you can keep talking to me about therapy for puppies,
Mm-hmm.
and then if you tell me there's a market for that, and then you go, why isn't there a market for babies?
Right.
I don't know how to respond to that, and
So-
I'm a little bit stuck, and I don't like being stuck. I'm frustrated by that.
But okay, so the bigger picture is, it's newborn therapy.
Yeah.
I don't care if it fixes the kid. It's fixing the parents.
Yeah.
Because they're sitting in there listening to you talk to the baby. They're like at a loss. They're like, our kid is crying all the time, and you're telling the parents it's not your fault. It's this kid's fault.
Yeah.
And we're going to get him fixed, and we're going to find out what the trauma is in his life. And it's giving these parents this peace of mind, this little time of breathing to be able to figure out we're doing everything we can to fix our colicky baby who just keeps crying and crying and crying.
Yeah. So can I give you we spent a lot of time on gut reactions, which is large part is just me trying to figure out what the heck this is. Yeah, but
Okay.
my yeah, but is doesn't this already exist, and isn't it called nursing the child? Isn't that therapy for the child? The child nursing, getting fed by the mother, being close to the mother, endearing themselves to the mother. Isn't that the emotional therapy that a child needs? Like, hasn't Mother Nature already provided this solution, and it's called nursing?
How do you monetize that though? Unless like you have a bunch of wet nurses.
Oh, trust me, they're monetizing this.
No, I think this is different. I think this is
Okay, in what respect? Defend your
because
idea.
honestly, like I don't want to get too disgusting, but nursing was a traumatic event in my life as well. Like I don't want to go back and relive that. Like so
yeah.
I think that no, I disagree. I don't think that's
you don't want to relive that, huh?
No. Welcome to Ween.
Welcome to Ween.
So do you have any names, other names besides Welcome to Ween?
I mean, you could call it something. I'm thinking like the word tiny and trauma, like tiny trauma therapy. You could call it
tiny trauma therapy.
Yeah, itty bitty therapy.
Itty bitty. That's not bad.
Let's see. Something like infant insights or.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. What else do you got? Do you got anything else? What'd you call it? Welcome to Ween?
Welcome to Ween, yeah. I mean, if so was nursing like was that a therapeutical thing for you?
Well, I think in hindsight, yeah, sure.
Okay.
You know,
so we
I feel emotionally fine in this moment. I guess if you trace it all back, that was probably helpful in my development.
So we could call it mother's milk. Because it's like it is for your soul and your brain what your mother's milk was for your body and your growth in that way.
I can go there. If we're gonna call it a ridiculous name, that's
mother's milk.
There. Yeah, mother's milk. Let's go with that.
Okay.
What a financial model. I'm so nervous
hourly.
about this.
It's just an hourly rate.
So an hour of therapy, which you have yet to define.
Newborn therapy.
You haven't told me the how yet.
Well, I'm not a therapist. Like that's for the therapist. What I'm doing is I'm creating a financial model, a way to. So if you're a therapist and you're struggling getting clients, change it up, man.
Yeah.
Become a newborn therapist.
Yeah.
And maybe adults don't trust you. Maybe adults don't want to go listen to you. But you could start this newborn therapy thing. Be the first in your town to do it, and you grab a whole sector of your city, and you have clients.
They should have all counseling students kind of start. That's where you should start.
You start with the newborns.
You start there, right?
Yeah.
Because if you can't master that, you're not ready for. You're not ready for Jonathan.
No. Because that's the other thing. Like those newborns aren't going to have like all kinds of hang-ups yet. Like you're catching them before they've created poor habits. So you're setting them up in good habits right away.
Correct. And in your mind, this therapy is going to be more than just coddling them.
It's proactive. Yeah.
Okay.
It's giving them ways of handling their emotions as they get older.
And even though you don't know how that's going to happen.
Not yet, no.
You know that there are people out there who are listening right now who are like, ooh, that's something I can take hold of. I can figure that out.
I can almost guarantee you, if you are a therapist and you started a website, don't call it Mother's Milk, call it Welcome to Ween or something like that. Mm-hmm. You start your website and you say, therapy for newborns, what's more traumatic than being born? You're going to get some clients.
Yeah.
And you can say simple things like, Are you having trouble sleeping? Does your baby keep you up at night? Those kinds of things, and you all the things that happen.
Yeah. Does your baby not listen to you when you talk?
Yeah.
Are
they having trouble focusing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are their bowel movements, not
erratic?
Erratic. Yeah.
It's not their diet.
Yeah.
It's their soul, their emotion. They're traumatized.
They're traumatized.
Yeah. Do they have dry, flaky
solitary
skin?
confinement.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So this idea was something.
Okay.
This idea was something. I think we've exhausted all the categories except rating it.
Rate it. Let's rate it.
All right. So give me the rating scale. What do we got?
I'm gonna set it a pretty big bar here.
Okay.
Between the rectal thermometer, which was used for
gosh.
terrible, painful,
Oh.
to the digital scanner thermometer, which should have been
Oh.
used, always. Like did you know that was invented in 1908? The digital
Really?
scanning thermometer, yeah.
1908.
Yeah, it's so far back that it would blow your mind. And
why didn't we adopt it right away?
I think there should be a bunch of pediatricians in prison, in my opinion.
Okay, so rectal thermometer to the digital thermometer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do not a rectal thermometer,
not.
but I'm going to call this idea imagine putting a thermometer through in the middle of two of your fingers.
Okay.
And the reason why is because that would obviously not do anything.
Right?
That would be useless.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I feel like your idea is it's it's not a rectal thermometer, which is great, but a rectal which is great that it's not that.
Yeah.
But a rectal thermometer actually does something.
Right.
Right.
It does.
Whereas your idea, I feel like listen, if there's a market out there for therapy for dogs,
Yeah.
there's probably a market out there for this. But make no mistake about it, it's like sticking a thermometer through two fingers
Okay.
and expecting a result. Fair enough?
Fair enough. Yeah.
All right.